Oh, it's the Doug Show. It's so funny. We were just off air peeing. We all had to go pee to make sure we didn't. We will still have to go during the show, I think, if we drink enough liquids. And if we go long enough, I'll go as long as you want. So, Matt, when you're ready to jump, just say, hey, I'm done.
Right.
Reagan, you have to come no matter, stay on no matter what.
Oh yeah, don't worry. I'm a lifer. I'm stuck here.
I'm not gonna say which episode it was, but I have actually had guests on where I muted the microphone and peed off screen while I was still on the air. I had a cup. So I'm just saying, only on the Doug Show.
It's okay. I've been on convoy for weeks on end, so there's no shame in that.
The horror of my casual audiences, they've watched this show and they didn't realize how truly rancid of a dirty man I am. I'm just the foulest thing they can imagine. Okay, so I'm so excited. You represent, Matt, everything I love about artists and creative guys. You're like it's like looking in the mirror. Same thing with Reagan, by the way. Though Reagan, not so much for his creativity, but for his giant biceps. But I love guys who make stuff. And just that, that you're in other disciplines, like you're doing puppets and animation. And I imagine it doesn't stop there because I see art hanging behind you. So there's paint and everything involved. Matthew,
this is all my Star Fox memorabilia hanging on the wall. I'm nerding out today.
Yeah. So this is another, we'll get into this too, but obviously that game put something very deep in your head when you were a little kid.
Oh yeah.
It grabbed you. And I hear this from thousands of people who have written me email about Earthworm Jim. This has nothing to do with something I plan to do or anything, but because it hit them right around when they were 5, 6 years old, it went so deep in their conscience that it means much more than just a game. So tell me what those games mean to you, because we all played those games. I played them in the 90s, but what happened when you first played the game?
When I was a kid, I was really into drawing cartoon animal people in space and making cartoons and comic strips and little flip books and things. Actually, the animation stuff started when I got Star Fox on Super Nintendo. You remember when the game came out? It was like Super FX chip, Super.
Yeah, it was the big 3D shooter, man.
And I like foxes. They're my favorite animal. And I was, I think, either 8 or 9 when that came out. It was in 1993, so it wasn't quite 10 yet. And it was just such a dark game. Not like evil, gritty, whatever, but like just thematically, it was just very dark. The levels, the music, and everything. Yeah. It wasn't the later games that came out. They're all ho evildoers, let's save the day, and all that. And the first game, there are a few little witty quips in the text that shows up for spoken dialogue, but the rest of it was a very serious on-rails shooter. And it really clicked with me as a kid. And I started drawing Fox McCloud and Falco and Slippy and Peppy and stuff. And then it kind of petered off after a while. A little bit older, age 10 or 11, I got into Sonic the Hedgehog. The internet ruined that a couple years later. Yeah. And then after a while, I, went through my 20s, my screw you, mom, I can smoke weed if I want to phase, and fell out of that. And then when I finally, hit rock bottom, it was just like, I need to get back into making cartoons and stuff. First thing that came to mind was what I wanted to do as a kid. I wanted to make a Star Fox cartoon, and I started that. You found
a better drug.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the high lasts a lot longer, man. It is it's
Haven't
wonderful.
Come down yet.
It ain't coming down yet. What about, do you ever experience, now people always ask me this, and to me it's alien, but I would imagine other creators might have a different answer, but do you ever experience creative burnout where the high wears off and you're just tired of drawing and you're just done? Do you take a break?
Like artist block and stuff like that. Before I started on the cartoon, all the time, it was a big issue. I think, honestly, the thing that has kept this whole project of mine glued together is the fact that I have a stable income and Patreon.
Sure.
Because I don't care who you are or what your work ethic is. you work 10 or 12 hours a day as a pest control technician, and you come home having to soak your feet in Epsom salts because you're so sore, and you have like 3 hours before you have to go to sleep. You don't really feel like doing anything.
Yeah. So I
down.
do want to push your Patreon because people who are serious about the arts, my audience is not just casual. They're very serious. They funded my Bigfoot Bill campaign. If I can implore you guys, just take a look at the Patreon. I put the link down below, and this is going to stay even, when this thing is not live anymore, they'll be able to watch this, but just take a look at how serious this guy is about his craft. This is a out of non-studio animated cartoon that he's been working on, and there's actual real progress on it. And so what's some of the exclusives that people can get if they just put in a little in your Patreon? What do they get?
I post a lot of stuff. It's a lot of early access stuff, like clips of, like a clip I just uploaded today, actually, that one I sent you on Twitter about a week ago of Wolf's dad. Like I upload them a little early on there, and then like about a couple days or a week later, then everybody else gets them. Also, full quality downloads of the songs for the soundtrack, which I do from scratch myself.
Nice.
I have a friend.
So a musician too. I want to kill you.
Yeah.
Now I want to kill you. Yeah, guys, this is really, I'm an independent artist. Reagan's an independent artist. We don't go into an office and get paid for art. We're trying to stay out of the office to devote our lives to this art. And if you've got a couple bucks, I'm just saying, if you're saying no to his Patreon, just go in for $1, go in for a tiny, tiny amount. And that way you at least, he hears a little vote that you're in. So every contribution works and helps. So thanks for that already. I have a super chat.
Absolutely.
Crocodactyl $2. Matt, come on, show me the legs. Are they really ... Do you have compound legs, or what are you? I
don't know if you've seen the cartoon, and I don't know if you were familiar with the lore. You seem to me as somebody well versed in '90s video game trivia. If we're all right, if you remember the original artwork, like some of these of the original characters, Fox is like, if you look at the one at the very top left, Fox is showing one of his legs, the robot legs. It's like, oh, the creators amputated their legs and made them robotic, so when they hit G-forces, the blood doesn't pool in their feet and make them pass out. They got Dylan Cuthbert and Shigeru Miyamoto, the two dads that made Star Fox. They're like the two guys that created the characters on some game theory YouTube thing, and asked them both, and they both said, no, they're not metal legs. What the hell are you talking about? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, Dylan Cuthbert, the guy who named Fox McCloud, he was like, no, they're just metal boots.
I like conspiracies.
Yeah. In the first episode of my cartoon, there's a little kind of a fan servicey joke between Fox and Wolf where he's like, I heard this rumor, can I see your legs? And he's just like, they're not robotic, blah, blah, blah. And, guy walks in on him with his pants down and it looks awkward and they have to explain and whatnot, etc.
The big reason why one of the big reasons why I'm rooting for you, Matt, is the animation that I saw. It was fully drawn, fully colored, with voices, finished. I mean, as finished as I've ever made anything. And it excites me when people don't, because so many times when I grew up, you had to just sit around and wait for a studio, and you just go, a studio will never back my thing. And so many artists use it as an excuse to not do anything. And to me, the future model is more, do it by yourself, do what you can, get the crowd to help fund you, because everyone's pouring their money into media as it is. But if you go and just spend all your money on Infinity Wars, you don't have a connection with the actors. You're not really helping like a guy who really, really needs your help. Whereas those of us who are in smaller Indiegogo campaigns and Patreons and Kickstarter and doing smaller end things, it's much more intimate. And so usually I expect much lower quality work, but your work is actually up there. It may not be big studio, obviously, because you're dealing with 500 of the best animators in the world. Yeah. But it's big enough to where you can follow the story, and they're compelling characters, and they're well designed, and it's everything that we really love about entertainment. So to me, that's what it's about. And I did not put the link to my own campaign, Bigfoot Bill, down in the description. but that store is still open. And I'm working on a video game, a tiny video game. I did a bunch of animation today, a bad guy and Bigfoot Bill's shoot. I'm working with 2 assistant animators on that. So we're doing a grassroots video game also at the same time, in the same way, just tiny grassroots things.
Sprite animation stuff the other day. It looked great.
Yeah, we're having fun.
Who did those, by the way?
Who did this? The Sprite?
Yeah.
It's Alex is one of my guys. He's out in not Belarus, but Cyprus is where he lives. And then I've got another guy. They go by code names. Maca Pixel is out in Reseda, California. So they're professional grade artists who are doing it for cheap or free because they love working together and having fun and making games. And that's how we're going to start the campaign, with something really low end, right? I'm not asking for the big money. For about a year, as I assemble a team and we're doing a game demo, and eventually what I'll have is 4 separate Bigfoot Bill game demos that I'll link as kind of a playable first level. And then I'll launch a giant campaign as I try and build up backers. That's my model that I'm trying. I don't know if it'll work, but I don't want to try and get a big money raise yet. But as you build your audience, I would suggest the same thing. Build an audience, you're giving them small clips, and then one day you'll be able to pull the trigger on a much bigger project for more money, hopefully. But by then they trust you because they've seen the work is the idea. That's what's pushing me. Here's Gus Tyler Bush, Doug Tenepa. Oh crap, you got Frederick Fox? Yes. Thanks to Reagan Lodge put us together. So Reagan's in on this thing too.
Yeah, thank you, Reagan.
And Reagan's Twitter is on here too. Follow him. He does great work. And he does a comic called Wyatt. Is your book going to be called Wyatt?
Yeah, that's the working title right now. If I go with anything else, it won't be too crazy or different.
Yeah. And your first version of Wyatt was in the Kazu edited, because I was in the second book, I think, with Solomon Fix. What was the book called?
Flight Comics.
Flight Comics. You did like how many volumes of that? Like 10?
I was Kazu did like I think he did probably 8 books altogether for Flight. And but yeah, that's where you can find all my information.
Yeah. All the greats are in that book. Jeff Smith is in one of those books. Raina Telgemeier's in it. You know, Kazu's got work in there. Jake Parker. I mean, it's a who's who.
Inktober guy.
Yeah. Mike Regina's in there. Who else is in there? Who's
oh geez, Nicholas Cole. Dang, I mean, it was really like an all-star cast.
Yeah, it was a great comic.
I was baffled when I was invited onto it. I didn't even have a comic made when Kazu saw my work and asked me to pitch one.
So there's Wyatt on screen. Go ahead and keep talking, Reagan. Give us a walkthrough of Wyatt real quick.
Yeah, sure. So basically, Wyatt it's kind of an all-ages adventure story. It's set in a kind of dark age of flight. So if you've ever seen Disney's Tailspin back in the day, it's draws on a little bit of inspiration from that and Miyazaki's Nausicaa. It's got a lot of kind of more action-y stuff in it. It's about a kid and this giant super soldier protector of his, and it's a story about friendship, brotherhood, and all that good stuff. Yeah,
it's good and it looks great. So 2 indie artists on the show. Tell me real quick. Let's get your work ethic out of the way, Matt. How many hours a day you working? Well, first, before that work ethic, tell me about your menial jobs that you had before.
Oh yeah, this is the fun part.
This is fun.
I can mention your place of residence on stream, correct? Like
what do you mean?
City, state.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Franklin, Tennessee. That's right down there under Nashville.
That's where I live. That's my people.
Right next to the 931. I used to be a bail bondsman for my father in Montgomery County, Tennessee. Cool. In Clarksville. He grew up around Cumberland Heights, if you're familiar with the area.
Yep, I know the area.
Yep. I did from 14 up. I worked at my mom's restaurant. I worked at Checkers or Rallies, depending on where you are. Fast food, Joanne Fabrics.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, Joanne.
When we moved up to Tennessee when I was 19, 20, I went to go work for my father. He divorced my mom when I was little, and he moved to Tennessee, and we moved up there. And it's like, oh, hey, Dad, I haven't seen you since I was a kid, and we were 5 hours away. Let me come see you. And he convinced me to come work for him as a bail bondsman for a couple of years on and off. That was an interesting job. I didn't dodge any bullets or jump out of any moving vehicles or anything, but I did have to.
You weren't Fox the bounty hunter?
No. But I did have to arrest a little person with head lice and a spinal tail. And the handcuffs would not stay on her wrist. And it was really awkward. It's like, if I walk you into this sheriff's office and these handcuffs are not fastened, he's going to chew my ass. Then he's going to call my dad, and that ass chewing is going to be on a biblical level. So I'll give you a cigarette if you will just keep your fists clenched and to where the handcuffs will stay on them. Yeah. That's one of many stories that we could get into.
So you put them on loose.
Yeah. No, I put them, I clicked them on all the way to their smallest setting, and her wrists and hands were still so small that would fall off. But yeah, if I walked in there without them handcuffed, because when you bring the people into the sheriff's office, you have to have them in handcuffs. Then you transfer the inmate to them, and then they take their handcuffs off.
So she's rolling her fists in to hold them on for you because you gave her a cigarette.
Up, just for a show, until I hold her hands up in front of the Montgomery County Sheriff and undo them. And I mean, it wasn't very well fabricated.
So what did your menial jobs do for your work ethic, though? Because this is something where I developed all my work ethic from my jobs. What specific things did you learn from those jobs?
That I didn't want to do them.
Yeah.
But, other than that, showing up on time, committing yourself, and all that stuff. I'm not going to say I was a perfect worker at the beginning. Everybody, like, oh, my stomach hurts, I'm going to call in today, and stuff like that. Everybody's been there. But as I worked more and more over the years, I discovered that the less you call in and the more you buckle down, the more money you make. You don't necessarily get promoted and stuff at a job like that. That's all politics and stuff anyway, for like Walmart and stuff. Yeah. But for actually working and getting stuff done, be it at a job or anything else, I started doing commissions like a couple years ago. Like, I do the slot thing where you open up 10 slots and they fill up, and then you do them one by one, and then you open up 10 more slots, drawing people and stuff. I did that, and I found out that the more that you just buckle down and do it, and not necessarily oversell yourself, but put in a little more work than you promise.
Did the furries make you do porn?
No. I've tried. I tried drawing a wiener here and there, nipples and stuff. It's not my thing. If I drew something that had porn in it, it would have to be goofy and funny and satirical and stupid. I just
like
no.
Ralph Bakshi or something.
And stuff like that. But for my commissions and stuff, I tell everybody, it's got to be PG-13 or less, and no like weird, oh, my character has 8 arms and a rainbow mohawk and eyes that change color depending on their mood. And
yeah, that sounds like all of them.
With you, but
that sounds like all of my commissions. Here's you freaking nerd for $1.99. I collected a ton of Flight. Which comic was yours? Reagan, were we in book? Was mine with Wyatt's first issue, the Solomon Fix one?
I think the Solomon Fix one. Yours was in volume 2, I think.
I think so.
And then I was in volumes 3 and 5, and I did like a cover interior for volume 4.
Cool. Emperor Tiger Star for $5 just came on to say hi, everyone. Also, Gordon from Cat Scratch is my favorite character of yours, Gordon. Doug, thank you for
What's up, Emperor? Emperor, I know him from YouTube. He does maps and history stuff.
Oh, cool.
Sweet. Oh, I'm gonna check that guy out.
I know, I like him already.
He's very well known, and he does all of his work in MS Paint.
So where can we find him on YouTube? Is it under Emperor Tiger Star?
Emperor Tiger Star. That's his YouTube.
Okay, guys, name. Emperor Tiger Star on YouTube. Not while I'm on.
Stuff. Great though.
Write that down. Yeah. Thank you, Emperor
Tiger saved Star. Many a kid from failing college and high school and stuff.
Cool. I'll check it out because my kids like maps too, and they study them only to make D&D maps.
Hey, that's better than nothing.
So that's good work ethic stuff. Why don't you show them, because we've talked about the animation, but I want to show them the puppet, because I made puppets in 8th grade.
if I may first show have you ever heard of ZBrush, the 3D sculpting program?
Yeah.
It's like I use that. I got this 3D printer over here, a little CR10 off the internet about a year ago, and I wanted to find a 3D program that I could, measure out millimeters and everything, and be able to model a cube in ZBrush and then print it out over there on the 3D printer.
Right.
And I got ZBrush, and then I started modeling character heads as drawing references. I'll show one on here.
Can you show us? Yeah, show me one of them.
Let me see if I can get it to pop up. You see my ZBrush screen. And I started modeling character heads just as a drawing reference, because you draw dog people and cat people and wolves and things. When you have like a really weird angle to draw them at, you can't just do that from your head without them. Like the Disney animators, they would have the 3D clay models of Robin Hood and stuff that they could turn their head like this angle here, like a really weird angle, and just be able to look at it and draw it. I don't trace over it or anything once I know how to draw the characters.
Here's my low-tech version of it, because I could never figure out ZBrush or a 3D printer that I do. I just do Sculpey. So if I need an upshot of the face. And sometimes I'll even photograph the character and do a trace down if I have to. So go ahead. You're ZBrushing this.
Yeah, this is the older version of Wolf O'Donnell, and then some of the other characters, like the main bad guy and stuff like that. And then I got to where, since I can link this to my ZBrush thing and 3D print it and make bobbleheads and stuff, I've always wanted, one of my favorite movies of all time, Doug, is Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Crystal, the animatronics, everything. I kind of unfairly judge people based on whether they like the movie or not. If I meet someone, they're like, "Oh, that gay movie with all like the puppets and Muppets and stupid shit," that's probably someone I'm never going to have anything to do with in my entire life.
Well, first of all, it is a gay movie with lots of puppets and shit in it, but the artistry in it can't be denied when you watch it. It can't be denied. I watched the documentary of that thing. I had a PBS documentary on the making of that I watched. Over and over and over again. When they show the Gartham, the guy putting the armor on and walking around in that stuff, I just blew my mind.
Yeah, even as a little kid, I had no idea what was going on story-wise, but just the world that depicted just sucked me in.
I mean, I still don't know what the Great Conjunction is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, me neither.
All I know is you put your arms up in an X and you go, blah, blah. I love it.
But yeah, this is the puppet here.
Okay, so then you designed the mechanics of your puppet.
And this is all from scratch. Everything on here I print out except for the eyes. The eyes, that's just a 40mm sphere of a ping pong ball.
Holy shit.
To have as a scale. And then I went in and actually made 3D models of the SG90 servos. It's like the servos, the little blue servos that are in there. I turn those off when I print it out. They're just there so I know how big to make the slots for it.
Yeah.
And I just rendered the string and the ring and everything. You can see the wheel here turns about 90 degrees and pulls this white bar up and down to do the up and down of the eyes. And then you can see the servo up here doing the left and right turn about 90 or 100 degrees for the left and right. And the one in the back is the up down, and it has that ring around the driver so that the stick can go left and right without affecting it. Wow, anyways, I printed all this stuff out. The cloth and fabric portion of it, I'm still working on. I don't really know how to use a sewing machine too good. I'm learning though. I'm learning.
It's easier than a 3D printer. I've used the sewing machine a lot on sewing puppets.
I've got the head here. This is everything printed out. It's just literally took the model straight from ZBrush and put it in my 3D printer. Just had this as a gauge, just 6 inches across, and it does everything else.
Beautiful.
And you can probably hear it too. The servo going up and down for the. You can see the stick in the back moving the eyes up and down, and then there's one on a servo arm that I've taken off just so I can move it because I don't have them actually hooked up. Have you ever heard of Arduino?
No.
It's those little circuit board robotics kits that let you program in like C or C++ to move legs and all that. That's the thing that I use. I connected a little analog joystick from a PS2 controller.
Why in the hell did you make an eye robotic and you put a patch over the eye, you idiot?
All we need is one of the eyes, and I'm reusing this template for every other one of the puppets. The first one I'm making just happens to be the most popular one with one eye. The eye is still there, but as soon as I finish this one, I'm just gonna, hack the dog muzzle off the end and put a beak there and do the bird character. Sure. And all of the eye mechanisms and everything is going to be exactly the same inside the puppet. I'm going to keep that.
For me, I want you to create a blind character with both eyes closed, but have them both completely robotic and working on the inside.
I'll know they're there. That's good enough.
I demand purity.
And this looks like a little pan flute thing, but it's just I got some Teflon.
That's called a Waldo. That's called a Waldo.
A Waldo.
Yeah, Waldo. When you put them on your fingers, those are called Waldos. That the effects guys call them that. Yep.
I did not know that.
Yep.
But one's for the lower eyelid, one's for the upper, and the others are going to be for the ears and eyebrows and stuff. But I haven't gotten that far yet. But let me get his eyes where they're not all the way down. I'm just going to take the wheel off and move it around manually.
Sure.
You can.
This is so cool.
Okay, get some dialogue going for us too. We want to see the puppet move, the mouth.
Doug, if I have to tell you to wash your hands one more fucking time, I swear to God. Oh my God, this man just drives me nuts.
That's so good. That is so good.
But part of it's just learning how to, do the finger flicks and movements and stuff. And I'm new to it. This is the first puppet I've ever made other than, like a sock in kindergarten.
Yeah, it looks
not that there's anything wrong with sock puppets, of course.
No, that's what I meant. I was always the sock puppet guy.
I have to say this. I was known as Frederick Fox from like 2003 to, whenever now, apparently. And I made all these funny videos back in 2003 before YouTube. And I got kind of famous to where, I'd go to the mall and people would be like, oh, I saw your E-Bombs World albino black sheep video and all that. And, the main thing, I got into kind of a creative slump, as you were talking about, in mid 2004. And later on in the year, one of my friends linked me to Sock Baby Part 1. I don't know if it was on Steak and Cheese or Consumption Junction or one of those, weird, messed up video archive websites back in the mid 2000s. But it was someone had just uploaded an MPEG of it. I remember.
So for the audience who don't know, I made Sock Baby. It's a show that I created, that I wrote, and I co-directed with John Soares, who's a great independent filmmaker I'm going to have on this show too. And there's 4 episodes. Just look up Sock Baby on YouTube or go to sockbaby.com. And that's one of my sci-fi kung fu comedies that we shot for $300 an episode. Episode 4 has Doug Jones and John Heater from Napoleon Dynamite, and Rob Schraub has a guest voice in it, a guest spot in it. And Justin Roiland, who created Rick and Morty, did some animation for me and a voice too. So it's star-studded and it's a blast.
But yeah.
So you're a Sock Baby fan?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you to this day, and this is actually the discussion I was having with Reagan, where he mentioned like, oh, I know Doug, and not that he said it like that. I don't know why I use that voice, but I was just going on
falsetto to you.
In my stream. I have a tiny little TV screen at the bottom because, back to my work ethic and stuff, I streamed for the past 3 years, 8 to 10 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, animation, just so I can prove to people on Patreon that I'm actually working. And I was just talking to him the other day while these little videos play to keep people from being bored, because people who watch my stream, it's just 8 hours of frame by frame animation. And I a couple of the videos that I put on there is, Sock Baby 1 through 3, just in a row. And I went in this big long monologue one day on my stream about how it is my favorite internet video of all time. You can go back and look at this. I'm not just saying this because I'm here, but I straight up said this. It is. It's just everything about it. It got me into wanting to make like fighting ninja videos and stuff. And I did. There's a couple videos I did like in 2005. They're like my friends fighting with ninja stuff. And that's totally what I was referencing. It's totally what it made me think of. It is my favorite. And the 4th one is great too. But like that time in my life when those 3 parts eventually all came out, that is like my biggest inspiration for all of my videos of all time.
Yeah, and I play Lord Opticord, the main bad guy, basically the devil, a 6'8" devil in whiteface. And they fight too. That's in my theme song for this show, is me getting the crud kicked out of me by John Soares.
But the one thing I noticed about it, it wasn't just, oh, it's goofy and non sequitur, random, whatever. It was very obviously from your mind, or at least a big chunk of it. Because I'm familiar with, your not Armacrog, the other one, Neverhood.
Neverhood.
And Earthworm Jim, and I had seen a lot of your stuff online, like what little stuff of it was back then. And my guitar teacher, when I was like 11, you were like his idol.
Wow.
And he showed me a bunch of your stuff and a bunch of comic artists that you actually mentioned earlier and all that. But anyway, that video, and just what I noticed about it, just the writing and just like, especially the lines for Lord Opticord. It's like, we don't kill Sock Baby to win. I kill Sock Baby to break the heart of God.
Yeah.
And it's just like such a perfect evil bad guy. Oh, I get you, heroes go down easy. Yeah. I'm sorry, I did obligatory quoting the dude in his stream on.
No, that's great. Videos. I love it. I'm a fan of Sock Baby, as if someone else made it. I watch it.
That makes me feel good to hear. But that was my jam back in the day. Still is, apparently.
Cool. I'm thrilled because it's so obscure that only not a handful, but of all my works, that's probably not one of my more popular works. But people in Hollywood and people come up and go, "You did Sock Baby," and I always feel a connection with them. Like, oh, you love kung fu, you love bizarre humor, and you love just ultra low budget stuff that's just made with the heart. Is kind of
John Soares was a martial arts dude, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he's king.
I remember reading about that he's back.
Psycho, and he came and became my editor on VeggieTales for the last 4 years. He moved back to LA to work for Titmouse, but he's
that's the Netflix VeggieTales : in the house or on the house or
in the house. Yeah, for Netflix / DreamWorks. But
I love those.
John Soares is psycho. He's like a hardcore Knights Templar Catholic. He is
he's like gothic.
That's badass.
Goth, hardcore goth, kung fu. Kind of guy. He's like a priest, and just an incredible filmmaking, storytelling mind. Who's also very much, when I see you doing the 3D printer stuff, I mean, that is how his mind works. Just like, I'm going to make this any way I can. And he did an independent, I don't know if it was Indiegogo or Kickstarter, to raise 15 grand just to do a short for his Danger Element movie that just looks fantastic. He's great. So we're all kindred spirits, kind of next tier down creators doing it ourselves, because no studio is going to hire him to direct. They should, but they're so busy making sequels and meaningless stuff that the heart of man doesn't care about whatsoever.
That's actually one thing I wanted to ask you about, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
How do you feel about Hollywood now that you've been out there around Meth Desto and all those wonderful magical places? How do you feel now that you've been there, lived there, been in the business out there, and now you're doing it from home?
Sure. I'm in case you can't tell by my career, I'm a do everything always. So I'm all for going into a studio and doing work, and I'm all for the way John Soares did it. He was raised outskirts of Modesto. He went to Modesto Junior High. He was a kid out there. So was I. That's where George Lucas is from, by the way. I'm from Denair / Turlock, born in LA, but raised in this little tiny ass backwards farming town called Denair. And I was just always, I just believe in creativity. It pierces through whatever environment you're in. And a lot of the soil, the farming soil that I worked as a farmhand and stuff like that, just in slave wages, really gave me my work ethic when I came into these other higher intelligentsia echelons of like fine art painting and video game design, and now graphic novels that are published out of New York and Portland for Image. I like being exposed to that. And I think artists who don't have the soil under their fingers, like you got from Franklin, Tennessee, being a bail bondsman, it gives you perspective, and it gives you sympathy and empathy for the broadest audience, instead of just the people who click around in museums and fine art circles. I just think it makes you a bigger Reagan, who's one of the greatest comic artists I know. He delivers oranges in boxes for his dad's citrus farm during the day in a truck.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm doing that. But this kind of like ties into why when I realized that you were into Sock Baby and stuff, I was like, you know what? I should try to introduce these two together, because like I felt like the thing that all three of us had in common is that it's like, yeah, we absolutely love our nerdy stuff, like we're artists and all this stuff, but we've all been punched in the face as kids.
Yeah.
And I feel like
absolutely.
that really, affects your storytelling. And when I look at Matthew's stuff, like it's like the I don't know, like the Newgrounds equivalent of like Taxi Driver, or kind of like, late 70s, early 80s midnight movie. Like there's something, it's like, it's not the kind of stories that I would tell, but I'm so glad that somebody out there is doing that.
Yeah, but Reagan was a Marine is a huge attribute, and most artists are disgusted by that idea. And Reagan also, Matt, when you talked about what you liked about the first time you saw Firefox was the darkness. It's like it seemed more real. Well, I'm only Star Fox. I'm sorry. I'm only saying that I think the people who just respond to kind of the fruitiness of it and the soft sonic are getting a thin version of how big those worlds can be.
Yeah.
And so when you look at Reagan's Wyatt, it is just more brutal, and it just seems more real to me. Like those characters are real, and to me, I'd rather see more of that. So Hollywood, to me, was a great place to make a living. I needed the money. I got great opportunities in that I was I got to be a producer on Earthworm Jim. I got to see how voices were professionally directed. And I learned voice directing. I learned how to run a crew by watching Peter Hastings, who did Animaniacs, run my crew on Cat Scratch. And then I became a showrunner on VeggieTales. So learning those kind of hard management skills are important, but also coming from the soil is important. John Soares went to Modesto Junior College, this throwaway college, and that's where he was raised, and a contemporary of Justin Roiland went to Modesto Junior College.
No kidding.
Too is a man of the soil, so that when he started making it on his own, he moved his parents into his house in Glendale. Like, he's a family man at the core. They don't forget where they come from. And I just think that's a human side that no one talks about, no one sees, but I know it's there.
Justin Roiland, he worked on like Gravity Falls and a bunch of stuff like that, right?
Yeah, Justin is an amazing talent, an amazing guy. By the way, when I got slammed for opposing gay marriage on Twitter, and everyone just went completely freak out on me, he sent me a personal message saying, "Doug, I know you. I know you don't hate gays, and I can't believe what they're doing to you." I got that from the creator of Rick and Morty. So other people know him as the creator of Rick and Morty, but I know him as Justin, the guy that went to Modesto Junior College.
I know him as Channel 101.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Channel 101, Donald Trump. It's Donald Trump on Channel 101. He was fantastic. So I know these guys, and Rob Schraub and Dan Harmon. I know these guys as human beings, not, and if you and I hung out, Matt, we'd hang out and just be guys and be bros.
Right. Yeah.
It's not Matt, the famous artist or something, and I'm not Doug Tnaple, the famous artist. I'm just a regular guy with my guys.
Yeah.
I love people. So here's Aunt Lurs for $5. Thank you. Came to say, loving the stream and hoping that everyone is having a wonderful day. You guys are wicked, by the way. Absolutely wicked.
Thank you, Antlers. You are wicked too.
If you know anything about me, you know I'm wicked. So one of the things that my dad always said to me when he'd come home and find me sewing puppets, or he never said it to me, but this is ex-military. He's my best friend. I love him and respect him more than anyone on the planet, but he just never understood me as an artist, right? He was a supervisor for Foster Farms, basically a giant chicken ranch. And he would come home to me sewing puppets. His scrawny, effeminate son And my mom would come in, who is just the most faithful wife in the world, and say, Doug, maybe when your dad comes home for work, he shouldn't see you sewing puppets. It was implied because they thought I might look gay. Now you actually are
crafting.
You actually are somewhat
Yes, somewhat.
a little bit.
Well, you have a way more manly voice than I do, so I'm jealous.
Yeah, you're the manliest guy among us, and you're gay. So,
I wouldn't go that far.
Are you comfortable talking about that? Can we talk about that a little?
I don't like to advertise it, but yeah, it's just it's like I'm gay. I don't really. My opinion on it. I'm a very conservative gay person. I don't like the pride parades. I don't really get out, and I think if gay people want to be taken more seriously, and I know how you I know how you hate disclaimers, but I'm just saying this is my opinion.
I hate disclaimers. You don't got to explain yourself.
Just how I feel.
That's right.
Fred, I forgot to tell you before you came on the show. There's actually no opinions here. Everything we state is complete empirical fact.
Yeah,
it's like
quit
literally.
Well.
Matt,
that's the thing. Like people are like, oh, I didn't know you were gay. I'm like,
Matt, quit virtue signaling to the masculine gays out there.
Everything we say is being carved in the stone right now.
Sorry, but yeah, like that's just the way. Like I was very unpopular around a lot of other gay people when I was younger because I was of that camp of just I'm in love with a dude. We might get married. It's not like, oh, I'm getting married because we're in love. It's like, well, it would make the importing process of myself to Canada a lot easier. We're in love. I don't have to go out and dress up in a tutu with fairy wings and a magic wand with a big rubber willy hanging off of it to make a point. I don't like that kind of stuff. And whenever I talk about it in certain Telegram groups and Twitter conversations, people get their knickers in a snit because I have an opinion that does not lie parallel with their own.
Yeah. You're my guy. It's weird to me because of the gay and trans people who will hang out with me. They tend to not be the rainbow wearing kind.
Right. Yeah.
And I have more in common with gay masculine men than I do with straight liberals who have to wear that rainbow flag. So we're kind of we're all mutts. We're all God's crippled little children. Let me get into politics real quick. Do you care? Do you vote?
I did not vote for. All I'm going to say, like everybody says, all I'm going to say is I didn't vote for Trump or Hillary. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so you voted for Bernie or you just stayed at home and played Fortnite. I did not vote this time around.
So you didn't even care enough to oppose anybody.
It was more in fact, as a human being, I was just kind of embarrassed at the two that were handpicked out of everyone.
Yeah.
I feel that there were a lot of other good Republican candidates and a couple other good Democratic candidates, and the fact that they picked Hillary Clinton, who I think is a bad person, and Trump, who I think is. I don't know how to feel about Trump. I feel like his check engine light is on. If that explains anything. Like there's something. I don't know what needs to be, oiled up in there, but there's a light on. Something.
It hasn't blown yet, but that is well
I can
said.
hang out in the same room as people who are also gay or straight or voted for Trump or voted for Hillary, and they all have reasons. It's like, and I always ask them, I'm like, why did you vote for Trump? Okay. And I want actual reasons, like, oh, well, he's going to do this and he's done this and he's a good thing at this. Or I voted for Hillary because I like her policies on whatever. As long as you can, like, as far as what you're saying on politics, as long as I can ask you stuff like that, and you can give me an answer other than, oh, she's an evil bitch, or, oh, he's a dumbass. Why? Because he's stupid. Oh, she's a bitch because she's evil. Why is she evil? And like, I don't go, onto rational wikis and try and look people up for like where they backpedaled or waffled or carpet bombed somebody or bagged or whatever. I just want to know, like, when people bring up such an opinion as like, I don't like Trump. I'm like, okay, why? And just like with Hillary or anybody, 90% of the time, they don't have a good answer. It's just like, oh, well, because she's dumb or because he's stupid, and I just stop the conversation. I have no interest in debating politics, but I'll gladly share my opinion on stuff.
You're not going to be soiled by the stupidity of contemporary culture, which is trying to make us all binary, hate each other, make the stupidest arguments, repeat the stupidest arguments.
This whole binary thing and the whole political polarization, either you're left or you're right, you're a Nazi or you're a wimpy apologist, or I'm just done. I've got fatigue. Fatigue is the best word I can think of to describe it, Doug. I've heard so much. It's just like people like, oh, did you hear that such and such? I just don't care. It's like I get voice actors and animators on my show that I work with that help me with my cartooning. I won't name them on here for their sake, but
poor guys, don't out them like that, bro.
No, but you just, and it's not anything bad. You know, they made an edgy joke on Twitter 10 years ago or something, and someone on Tumblr or Twitter will direct message me and go, oh, you shouldn't work with this person. You shouldn't work with that person. You shouldn't get this person on your live stream. They have a very unpopular opinion, and I don't fall in with that crowd.
That's all of my crew, and anyone who's ever come in contact with me. They usually get a little letter, or a little tweet or a little warning, like, why do you hang out with Doug? He hates fags. He hates gays.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple of those for you from random people on YouTube.
Yeah, I love
already.
it. I love it, my brother.
Care. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah, I kind of want to just take all of mine.
People at a con, I'll be at a con, and someone will be like, "Oh, you're that Frederick Fox guy. I hear he's trouble."
Yeah, yeah. Well, let the people see that we're men in full and having a blast. That's all I say. We're having a lot more fun on our side, and I don't mean on the right. I mean as gentlemen. Here's Marcus Aurelius, a Marcus Aurelius reference, which I love.
Get it.
I love already for £5.
I get it.
£5. I'm one of the conservative gays. TM.
Yeah, we are trademarked.
Yeah, trademarked. So I guess I can't be an honorary member unless I get approval. You do you, Matt. Love Fox in Space. Love you, Reagan. Can't wait for the comic. And Doug, you keep trucking. God bless my people. My God.
On.
I love you guys.
Thanks, Marcus.
I love you guys. See, it's weird because if you have a normal conversation and then suddenly all the trolls will leave your subscription base, and
absolutely,
only cool people show up and start talking like human beings.
I've got my stream for so long over the past week. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be on Doug TeNaples' show. He did Sock Baby and Earthworm Jim. And the main thing that blows my mind is all these people. There'll be nihilists, gay people, straight people, atheists, polytheists, whoever, like just everybody sitting around like, oh, I don't agree with that, but you know, what are you doing tonight? What's going on? Yeah. Like no one cares. And it's like this Twitter thing that's going on. You say something like that and everyone's just, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm
they're a small minority. They're a small minority compared to real
right-wing bomb thrower, but I will have a beer with any of my opponents and find what connects all human beings, and because I believe people are made in the image of God. Let's get to God talk. Only because I bring it up on every show. That's Matt, fun. What's your belief in God, if any?
I was raised very conservative Southern Baptist.
I already knew that because your parents divorced.
Yeah. Damn. All right. Oh, and you got me there. But I just, I was raised Southern Baptist. I went to church when I was a little kid, and then we kind of didn't do the church thing. My mother is like totally conservative Southern Baptist, God all the way. Honestly,
what does she think of your homosexuality?
She's not a fan. It's just like the thing. Like we don't really talk about it.
Yeah.
It's just,
not a fan, but loves you.
Sweep it under the rug, la 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 la. And that's fine. That's fine. I don't care. I hear people that are like, oh, I told my parents that I was gay, and they got mad and yelled at me, and it's like that's all that happened. You're pretty lucky. Yeah. I have friends whose parents have terrorized them and done horrible things. Yeah. But just like I'm talking with you, I don't really advertise it. It does not make me. I don't wear it on my sleeve. I just happen to be in love with a person who happens to be a dude. I don't go to parades and pride marches. I think all that stuff's silly.
Yeah. And could I ever straighten you out?
Well, If I like the color of your coin, no, yep. Pay the gay away.
Can I pay the
I'm
gay
not
away?
straight, but $20 is
No,
20
I
bucks.
want a dollar amount because I'll do it. I'll do a GoFundMe. I'm straighten Matt out.
No. No. I'm a work in progress in all senses of the word, but in that regard, I think that's set. You're gonna have to put that one to the wayside.
So never any attraction to a female.
No, I'm not gonna say that. I've dated a couple girls. I would say that I'm just like 90%.
Mm-hmm.
I've just kind of gone that way after trying to date a girl here and a girl there.
I mean,
and
you are a guy. You are a guy. You will screw anything.
Well, but it just I just eventually came to it. I thought I was, then I thought I wasn't, and then I just realized, like, yeah, this is.
Were you attracted to the women that you thought of dating, or was it just an obligation?
No, it wasn't to hide. It's one of those things where, you know, if I get to know somebody, and I could see living with someone for the rest of my life or something like that, you know, it's not like, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to get in bed with her. Let's go out.
You found a human being that you loved or that you liked.
Yeah. But general attraction, yeah. But like I said, I don't really advertise that. That's kind of
how old were you when you started ticking toward males? When you started going, guys.
Like for real, late teens. Before that, I was like, sex? What is that? Like you what? You? I wasn't really sexually active or like into. I don't want to get too far into it, but
you can go as far into it as you want. I don't want to.
I don't really, but it's like late teens. Late teens is when I started becoming like, okay, I'm starting to figure out what I like and stuff, and then.
And now you're an adult. And we can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Nah.
You're in. Here's Liam Anthony for $10. Thank you. Fatigue is the best way to describe it. Love from your token Aussie. Ninja of Ginger is his name. You recognize
Hey, Ninja, what's up? Yeah. I did put out a little advertisement. I don't know if you're getting any more viewers than usual tonight. I don't know.
Oh, I hope so. Oh, thanks for telling about this, guys.
I went on Twitter and Tumblr, and I even made a post on my YouTube saying like, "Oh, hey, I'm on Doug's thing tonight. It's going on now."
I appreciate that, guys. Subscribe to my channel. If you like this kind of conversation, I always talk about politics, God, work ethic, and family with my guests, and I love more subscribers. It inflates my fragile ego. Okay, so we've done. So wait, God, you were raised Baptist. What do you believe now?
I'm kind of a hopeful agnostic, I guess is the best term I can think of. I'm very scientific with stuff, but I'm not. I believe that something made all of this. I have no idea what the hell it is.
So you're a theist of some kind.
This is the thing. Everybody bases it on afterlife. If we die and it's just infinite sleep and your memory's wiped and it's just black nothing, which doesn't count as anything because you're dead, then that's, in my opinion, that's a lot better than afterlife could be. Yeah. As far as afterlife, I don't know, and no one knows except for the dead for sure.
Yeah.
But as far as everything being created, they're like the fact that, you know, eyeballs and brains and like little animal critters, stuff critters, bugs, fish, swamp things and whatnot, and then humans, like that concept has always weirded me out.
Complexity, beauty, morals, amazing people that are worth loving,
intelligent life, and that has always weirded me out. Like whether it's a bunch of like holy trumpet blowing angels and God and the commandments and all that stuff, you know, like about Jesus. I'm sure Jesus existed. I believe Jesus was a real person. Whether everything happened exactly as it's stated in a book that's that old, I don't know. I used to be cute and be like, I practice Dunnoism because I don't know. I know or I don't know. I don't. My drama teacher in high school said I know or I don't know. I don't believe in anything.
Let me give you two great arguments for God based on what you just now said. One is that God provides a convenience for someone whom you can thank for all the things that you love about life, the humans, the beautiful animals, the complexity of the eye. You can't thank a nothing. So if there's a person behind it or a being behind it, then God provides you an opportunity to say thank you to someone instead of just looking at the rocks and cause and effect in physics and say, I guess it just happened.
It all came from a meteor.
Yeah, from a meteor. So the second argument is when you talked about justice, there can be no justice if there is no afterlife, because Hitler gets eaten by the same worms as the best person you know. That is a mass serial killer.
I totally agree with that.
So unless there's some kind of judgment in the afterlife, there can be no justice. Those are my two strongest arguments for that. And then my strongest argument for Jesus is just that he died for you. And did this God who make everything put on a human flesh as like a costume and walk around among us and end up dying by our hand? I just think that's just the coolest story. It
is. I do think that the Bible is the greatest book ever written. I do, by far. Like, and people are like, "Oh, the Bible, goody two shoes." It's like there's murder, rape, incest, genocide. There's all sorts of horrible stuff.
It's brutal, and I believe all the brutality. Here's Emperor Tiger Star again for $5. Thank you, sir. If you think binary is annoying, I'm a Christian on the left with military men in the family, and that apparently irritates everyone. Yeah. The universe, my universe is already unraveling just at you writing that. Here's Northy Tunes for $5. Thank you. Fred, how have you been liking Blender 3D? He talked about it early on the show, but go ahead and give him a review of it.
I love it. Blender is a free 3D editing program. And I picked it up 3 weeks ago on suggestion of some of my friends because I do not like drawing backgrounds. I hate drawing backgrounds. It takes forever. And then you change the perspective and now you've got a brand new one that you've got to draw completely from scratch. And now I don't know if it's showing up or not.
It is. It looks great.
I've been using this for 3 weeks. And I had some experience with Quake 1 and Counter-Strike doing level design and stuff. So I understand how to navigate in a 3D environment, but I did all of this from scratch.
Have you used Google SketchUp? Is it easier than that?
I tried it once and it was neat, but I was like, I just want something that I can just throw a texture in and UV map it, put where the texture shows up on the polygons and everything.
Matt, that looks great. That looks professional for 3 weeks work. Now I'm a boomer who can't figure out anything.
I can show you. I would love to show you how to use any program that I use. I know you're busy and you have your own things that you use, but if you ever want to
busy and I hate everything. I'd rather sit and talk to you and have a beer than.
Well, there you go. I can help you out with that. Yeah. At least one part of it. Yeah. I can throw a beer pretty far.
Yeah. Throw a beer. I just like that you're doing it. I want to encourage you to do it there. You keep going down that path because it's working for you. What do you intend to do with this 3D rendering?
These are all the backgrounds.
So you're doing back. Okay.
The clip I just uploaded, I showed it to you on Twitter earlier this week about his dad breaking him down in front of his girlfriend. This is the background for that scene.
How are you compositing your animation into this background?
I'm exporting a screenshot of the background as a PNG.
Yeah.
Everything I do is PNG. It's a raw but compressed image file. So if there's any simplicity in it, it lowers the file size. Then I take a PNG of that background and I go into Sony Vegas. You ever used Vegas or After Effects?
Never heard. Oh, I know After Effects. I don't know Sony Vegas.
Sony Vegas is like Sony's version of After Effects. It's a video editing software. I've used it since 2004. And then I go into Vegas and compile the scene with layers, like the background right here is just cool. See right here, it's just a PNG of a close-up shot of that 3D environment. Then I add the shadows and the layers of the animations from Flash.
You're crazy even for putting the shadows in. That just shows how much you care. I would never care enough to put the shadows in.
You duplicate the layer of the characters, set the brightness to 0 so it's solid black, and then you add a blur to it and set it to 50 alpha.
And you talk about all the stuff on your Patreon, right?
Yeah.
I want to tell everyone about Matt's Patreon. Sure. I have a link down in the description. He's going to act, if you're into this stuff, whether if you're just curious about it, or you just want to watch a guy do his thing, or you want to learn yourself, then get in on his Patreon. I would love to see people come in and pay to help a guy out, because this is an independent animator. Guys, this is what the arts are about. And the arts were never able to make it just by dry, oh, we like you, good job. If you guys love the arts and love creativity, then you ought to fund this guy. You got to help him out, even if it's at a low level. $1, just give him $1 a month. It's $12 a year, and you'll start getting stuff.
And that's all I ask you. There's an option on Patreon where you can actually just support, not even give a money amount.
Yeah. You can click in just to be part of his audience. And this is a guy worth following. This is an incredible independent talent. These guys need to build an audience, and you guys need to be a part of it. If you like my work, then you'll love his work. Here's Aunt Lurs again for $10. Thank you for the super chat. Eating pizza is easier than sex. It is easier, but it's not as fun.
Twice as messy, though. Depending on the place you get it from.
That depends on, that depends on
you get that good sex that you got to fold in half like a taco.
Depends on the pizza and depends on the sex, ladies and gentlemen. That's very relative of a statement.
I'm boring in the bedroom if, when it comes to pizza, all I like is just cheese and pepperoni.
Reagan, how much are you getting, you single man?
There's your answer. None.
I'm married in love, and in love, that's all I'll say as a gentleman, is I'm the happiest man I know.
So you get a lot of tail.
Yeah, you poor guy. I feel sorry for single people.
Okay. I'm a wholesale.
You're a wholesale.
Wholesale, voluntary celibate.
You're Eastern, or you're Orthodox. You're walking the walk. I encourage you to be the man. You're doing it right. You got it. Delayment of gratification is the key to happiness. So.
Yeah, ladies, my DMs are open.
Okay, let's move on. So we've done politics, we've done religion, and we've done work ethic. What about family? And I love just the images that you're showing, Matt. Go ahead and talk so we can see.
Oh yeah.
Click through.
This is just some footage from the first episode I've got so far. No, I'm in very good contact with my family. I've always been in good standing with my family. I mean, we argue. There'll be that week that I got in an argument with my mom or my sister or whatever, and we don't talk for a week, and then it's just like, hey, what's going on? Other than that, no. Like I've always been on good terms with my family. I keep them very close. I love them. I would die for them. I'd do anything in the world for them.
Yeah, that's family. That is in defense of reproduction and in defense of blood, because you could be dying on a deathbed and they'd be there for you. They'd take a bullet for you and you'd take a bullet for them. That is
absolutely. That
is an amazing statement. I love family. Here's Space Podacy for $5. Thank you. Doug, inspired Fred, just as Fred has inspired many others to draw and be creative. Yeah.
My man.
To my crew, you got to support. I would love it if you supported this guy. No one has to do anything, obviously. Part of your demonstration of the love of the arts is what you freely choose to do in support of it. And I've been a huge benefactor on Indiegogo. I've raised $108,000 on Bigfoot Bill. That is staggering. And if you think I go to my art table and I am terrified that I won't make something good enough, I'm going to put my very best effort into the Bigfoot Bill video game and the Bigfoot Bill comic book. It is
I know you will.
A stellar killer thing. I am on fire about it. And you know what it's like, right? To be in the mix if you can't wait to animate the next scene, right?
Yeah. I go to a convention and show off my stuff. By Sunday, I'm like, I need to get back home, get on my cartoon. It's worse. I quit smoking almost 2 years ago. I smoked from 17 until March 6th of last year. Then so March 6th of this year, and then whatever else is left. That's how long I've been without smoking.
Tell them what it's like when you first gave up smoking.
Well, I was sick. I had a fever and a cold for 2 weeks.
Did you go crazy?
No. This is the thing. I was smoking and I got really, really sick. Like, every year I get a cold for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I get
And
those
then
too. Yeah.
the whole time I was sick, smokers, they'll still try and smoke. I couldn't do it. My throat was so messed up.
Yeah.
I was so sick, I couldn't do it. And then after it started petering away and I started getting better, I realized I've been 2 weeks without a cigarette. Let me see if I can keep this going. And the yuckiness of nicotine withdrawal was already lumped in with being sick, so I'm gradually feeling better and better. And I did, and to prove it, I put 2 packs of Marlboro NXTs unopened, fresh and new, on top of my fridge and left them there for like 3 months.
Oh,
just to prove, because it was one of those things. It's like, if I ain't in it for real, I ain't in it at all.
Yeah.
And I left them up there, and eventually
you're a brutal man, and you made a fist, and you will be a slave to nothing.
Man, I'm picturing your withdrawal as being kind of like when Paul Atreides drank the water.
Oh, are you a pouch man?
Yeah, I
was on the Skull Bandits for a while.
This is my slavery. I gave up cigarettes probably 5 years ago because I realized this would tear up my mouth a lot less than smoke would tear up my lungs. And but I tried giving it up a number of times, and I just end up going completely crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was.
I do want to give it up one day because I too will be a slave to nothing. But man, there's a season for everything, and it is not the season to give these up. I gave them up in February. I gave them up in February and lasted 3 days.
It's good for airplanes.
That's exactly right. I find it just so much easier to chew than to smoke, because smoke really, it makes you stink.
It does. I never realized until I was done with it. And I'm almost ashamed of it. I'm just glad.
It gave you a killer voice, though, Matt. It was worth it.
Actually, my voice got deeper and smoother when I quit. Oh,
smoking. Really?
Yeah.
Because you sound like an ex-smoker to me.
I thought it would be harder to do a lot of my voices, but no, it actually did better.
I just love the romance of cigarettes.
Yeah.
When I'm with my guy friends and we're smoking cigars, I'll often buy a pack of cigarettes and then just throw the rest away because they will utterly get their hooks in me again. But I love the look of smoke. I think it's beautiful. I don't love the idea of every 15 minutes having to go out on the front porch, and you sit there in the winter and you're looking at this thing going like, I am bound to you, and this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Living in a house where your wife won't let you smoke in the house, or
no, and that's partly voluntary. But she started getting used to the cigarette smoke on my face, and if I'd kiss her, I'd go, oh, I'm sorry, I smell like an ashtray. She goes, no, I'm used to it now. That's what a good wife does. Here's Modern Businessman for $2. What do you think of Starlink version of Wolf? I have no idea what that sentence is.
It's a new game coming out called Starlink. It's like a spacecraft flying game, and it's made by Ubisoft, but they have a deal with Nintendo where they're putting Star Fox into it.
Oh, interesting. So what do you think of that?
It's cool. I answered in the chat a few minutes ago. I like Wolf. He looks cool. His voice isn't mine, obviously, but I think he sounds kind of like Scar from The Lion King, which isn't too bad. I get used to it.
I love Lion King. And I love Ubisoft. I mean, their work on Rayman, I go, this is probably the only team that could pull off an Earthworm Jim game that I'd approve of. I think they're amazing as a game company.
They get flack for some of their practices, but honestly, they're a perfect example of they launch a game that's kind of glitchy and poopy, and then after a few months, it's a AAA platinum masterpiece.
Yeah. Well, games are so big and complex. I don't even know how people get their head around them. When I see like Call of Duty and stuff get released, I'm just going, I don't even know how you do this. Like, I was in games when it was much younger, and you could get your head around it. And I don't know how to
plus and sprites. That was it.
I don't know how to run a 150-man crew. Is insane. Can you imagine?
No. Yeah, I got the smoking thing though. Yeah, I'm so much glad. I'm so much happier that I don't smoke anymore, because it's like every 30 minutes or an hour you go, and it's not every hour. Everyone's like, oh, I only smoke one cigarette an hour. No, you don't.
Did you turn to another vice? Did you find like an attraction, say, to porn or to food to fill that gap?
No, I had been working on my cartoon for I've been on it for about 3 years now, so it was about a year and a half back then, and I I found what I discovered was my voice was better. I didn't have to spend 45 minutes every morning getting the phlegm situated in the toilet.
Sure.
And I found that I actually had more time to work on my cartoon and not have to, because I used to smoke on stream. You can pull up my old streams from 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
But it was just messy. My keyboard would get all yucky and my microphones and all this audio equipment around me. And I would eventually just, sit away from the computer and smoke, but it saved me so much time.
Do you get itchy like after a meal or after a concert when everyone pour onto the street?
Every great once in a while, I will get back and from a movie or see someone smoking in a movie and get like a little bit of an urge, like, oh man, it would be neat to have a cigarette.
Yeah.
But every 6 or 7 months, I'll go up to my brother-in-law or somebody that's smoking a cigarette and be like, hey, let me get a hit off of it. And I'll take the cigarette and I'll take a hit and instantly cough and get sick and feel shitty for the rest of the day, just to see, because I'm curious. I'm not trying to get back in. I was like, let me see if it still tastes as good, and it does. It's yucky. I can't deal with it.
Well, see, I cannot smoke for 2 years, and if someone offers me a cigarette and I take a puff, I'm like, oh, it's like a first love.
Back on that train.
Oh yeah, and I get scared. I go like, holy cow, let's stop this immediately.
Yeah.
Here's Spencer Xavier for $5. Thank you. Underrated Ubisoft release is Stupid Invaders on the Dreamcast. If you guys are fans of Doug, you'll love it.
Stupid Invaders.
I haven't even heard of that. That's obscure, and Dreamcast already is obscure. That's like obscurity squared. Here's Emperor Tiger Star again for $2. Thank you. Lies Fred. You got addicted to Perrier's Sparkling.
Oh God, I'm getting called out now. Yeah,
is that what you drink? Is that your drink?
The fancy white people water with the pamplemousse flavor. Grapefruit Perrier. Yeah, that's my vice now.
That's good. But that's a good vice.
Lost 15 pounds. I stopped drinking sodas. I mean, I'll have one every once in a while, but 99% of the time I cook for myself. I drink water or Perrier with.
Just cooking for yourself alone will make you drop weight, but most people
Absolutely.
who quit smoking, they gain weight. So I was going to ask you how much you gained.
No, I lost.
Another vice. You lost.
Yeah, I lost a lot. I wasn't really. Let me find what else I was animating on. I wasn't going to get too much into this, but I did have a really bad vice before that. If you want to go back before cigarettes.
Oh yeah,
I was addicted to heroin for almost 2 years.
Good Lord.
That was when I moved out in the late 2000s, in my whole screw you mom, I can move out and do drugs if I want to phase.
You buried the needle on heroin.
I actually, there we go. I actually have a laugh track button. I promised myself I wasn't going to use it on your stream.
No, are you kidding? I love it. I love a laugh.
It'll get old Fred, if I do it too much. I've got the echo effects, the car salesman, $199 a month, and the
Hey, how do I get that on my show so I can do cheap morning drive commute
audio interface and a MIDI keyboard? And 2 sound cards. It's all you need.
Okay, so hold on. Wait, get back to heroin because man.
Yeah.
That's you just went up in cool factor in my I've never even tried pot. I never would. I think it's weak people, but tell me about your heroin addiction. How long?
About almost 2 years. It was from early 2008 to late 2009.
You were shooting?
Yes. Like very, very, very heavily. I've never really come out. I've touched on this on my stream a couple times, but like I said, this was 10 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I was in a really bad spot, and it was. This is going to sound nerdy as hell, but the Star Fox cartoon was actually what got me out of it.
Yeah, it saved your life. What was harder to kick, smoking or heroin?
Well, I've always tried to get off smoking for years and years and years. Heroin, I tried legitimately to quit about 3 times. The third time was the day after my 26th birthday in 2009. It was September 17th, 2009. I got scared.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20. what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I've been on this crap for, and it was heroin, OxyContin, morphine, Dilaudid, whatever. It's all the same stuff. If you're withdrawing off OxyContin and you take heroin,
were you mixing it? OxyContin and heroin?
You either got one or the other.
Or you're dead. You're dead.
It's like mixing vodka and whiskey. The end result is the same. It just gets you more drunk. But and I locked myself. I didn't go to a help group. I didn't go to rehab. I didn't have family helping me or friends or meetings or anything. I locked myself out of fear. Fear of wasting my life. I locked myself in my room for almost 2 weeks. It was like 9 or 10 days. Almost blew my brains out because of the pain. It wasn't, like boo-hoo, I'm done with the world or anything. It was the withdrawal and, going into seizures, going to the bathroom on yourself, not sleeping for 10 days. And I was like,
aching despair.
Yeah. It was like I imagined being interrogated in a movie by some torturous government. But
just nuts and bolts. Where did you get your heroin from?
Well, dealers. I didn't go to a clinic or anything. It's just,
did you have a regular dealer? Or did you go and get it from a street corner?
Two or three different guys. And they're all in prison for trafficking now.
Hooked you up. How much did it cost to get? What increment did you buy?
Started on OxyContin. OC 80s, 80 milligram pill gets you high for a day.
Yeah.
Like once you get a good tolerance going, you're good for a day. You could break it up into pieces or whatever. And after a while, money started getting scarce, and then we discovered heroin. We being me and my friends that were all.
So heroin was cheaper than OxyContin.
Yeah, $60 pill of 80 milligrams of OxyContin would hold you for a day, or you could get some heroin and for $20, $25, a 20 bag or whatever. For
$20 increments, or did you pay more to bulk up and?
No, if we'd scored enough money at the time from X, like I would work and get money, and then we would buy Xboxes and be like, oh, we have money, and trade guns and things, like buy guns and sell them for more expensive to certain people and all that. And it was all legal. It was all above the table and everything.
Oh, but, sure.
No, I never did any. I never did any illegal, crazy gun
grenade launcher. You never sold a grenade launcher.
But and when money was good, we'd stock up a little, and then there were some days where we would wake up, at 4 a.m, all snot nosed and sweaty, trying to, the quest for $20. Every single day. And that's what it is. It's not like people are all like, well, why don't you just quit? You get high every day. No, at that point, I'm going to be, pardon my language, I'm going to be shitting on myself and going into seizures and throwing up in 16 hours unless I find $20 and my guy is good. And it was that for 2 years. And then I locked myself in a room for about 10 or 11 days and got through the worst of it. Eating nothing.
Did you chop up the heroin, or was it already chopped before you cooked it?
You're sounding really interested in this.
No, I'm fascinated. Look at me, I'm fascinated.
Run off and try anything. We don't need to lose any more artistic geniuses.
Yeah.
I know sometimes it's powder, sometimes it's in a little rock that you have to crush up. You put it in a spoon.
You cook it
with a piece of cotton or a cigarette filter.
How do you get it in the needle? Do you syringe it up into the needle?
Yeah, you put a little piece of cotton, and it soaks it up, and then you suck it out of the cotton, and the fibers of cotton get all the dirty stuff out. I don't know. That's how it worked. And then
where'd you get your needles?
The store. You just go in and be like a 31 gauge double whatever, and for a while, and then after a while, they're like, oh, we need to have a prescription.
And did you put the rubber band on your arm too to build up your vein?
Well, are you on a WikiHow article right now?
I am. This is part of my interview. Fuck you. This is what I want to know.
No, a belt, or a Xbox 360 cord, or something. Yeah, and it's just like it is in the movies. You tap.
And then when it went in,
you close your eyes, and it's basically like for about 2 minutes, and then have you ever had a tooth pulled?
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten hydrocodone? Did they ever give you hydrocodone?
Oh yeah. For my wisdom teeth, I was on that, and I took every one in the bottle because it was legal.
Yeah, that feeling, that's heroin. It's like granddaddy heroin of the little Lortab Dr. Watson children.
So you felt no pain, and all of your pain was taken care of.
Well, I didn't have any pain. Yeah, like at that, like later on, it's kind of you get sick, and then you take it and you feel normal with a little bit of a high on it. But yeah, it was that for about a year and a half, and then at the end of it, when I started getting off of it, going through the worst, I was like, who's a hero of mine? Like, who's somebody that I look up to, or a cartoon character, or something I can make up that I could really like. I was neurotic at this point, and I thought of Fox McCloud, and I was like, this is like my favorite video game from my childhood. I always wanted to make a cartoon about this guy. And like, what would Fox? This is so nerdy and gay.
No, I love it.
But it is like, what would Fox McCloud do in this situation? He would not be a little whiny bitch. He would get through the stuff and put his life back together and get a job and start doing what he wanted to do. And that was
so I was addicted to porn for years, to a point of going to a 12-step group for it.
Right.
And before I would look at my favorite movie, my body would respond by getting so excited that I would get diarrhea. Did you feel as you were going to the heroin dealer, was there some kind of a wheel?
Yeah, your withdrawals go away, kind of. If you're in a car, and just so you know, withdrawals, it's like you're shivering. You don't know if you're hot or you're cold. You don't dare fart. Yeah. You will, if you gamble on a fart, you will lose. Your guts are all bubbled up.
So this trigger response in the human mind, the heroin is jacking, it's taking advantage of.
You start to breathe heavy, and your withdrawals go to the wayside because.
But hold on, your withdrawals are there in your mind.
Yeah.
And as you're on your way to the heroin dealer, those withdrawals go away because they anticipate and know what it's going to get, right?
Yeah. And I don't know if that's a placebo effect or if it's my psychology, but I think it was just that you get so excited and you get adrenaline. Because if something ever happens and you get an adrenaline rush while you're like puking is another thing. If I would never suggest this to anyone, but if you're driving and you're falling asleep and you have no way to wake yourself up, and
ram your fingers down your throat,
and don't puke, but make yourself gagged over and over until you're almost puking, and that will wake you up for like 20 minutes.
That's probably more moral than crashing into a family of 8 in a minivan going the opposite direction, falling asleep. That's all I'm saying.
But anyway, yeah, like the withdrawals are shitty, and they will make people. I never robbed anyone. I never broke into any houses or.
No, but all the dealers did.
But all
the dealers you paid for too.
No, all of their other customers, the people who like stabbed people and stuff. There was a lot of that, but anyway.
So you were a moral heroin addict.
Well, to a point. I'm sure if I kept going and got worse and worse, you only get worse.
How many times did you use it before you became an addict? From the first time, or how many times in before you became an addict?
I don't know, because we had kind of taken it about 6 months. We at the like when we first started, it was just like, oh, my friend had this prescription for 300 Vicodins, and we would just pop one every day. Yeah. And then after about 6 months, we ran out. And we're like, oh, well, we'll get some other time. And then the next day that night we went to Subway and we got subs and tuna subs and stuff. And all of us woke up the next morning puking, shivering, throwing up. And we were like, oh, we got food poisoning. And I was like, oh, well, hey, let's get a hold of our buddy and get some OxyContin. And it'll make us feel better. And we cut it up and, snorted it or whatever, and instantly felt normal. Like after, it was like having half a heart in Legend of Zelda and drinking a red potion, just. It's like, oh, we don't have food poisoning. We're addicted to opiates. Whoops.
Yeah, I just feel like as fellow artists, I think we're all such addictive personalities, because I actually think the art does kind of prime your addictive nature, because it actually provides a hit of dopamine but a much more stabilizing hit of natural dopamine that is longer lasting. Though I think the ups and downs are things. That's why so many artists are addicted. In the artists that I've interviewed, I've found that to be a pretty common thing. Every artist has a vice. It might be food, it might be sex, it might be heroin, it might be tobacco. but it is, I think we're kind of self-medicating depressants in a way, is my theory. Here's Oatcake McOat. Oh, we're using real names.
Okay.
For £5. Shout out to Fred's crew. Cheers for the company and the motivation to keep creative. Amen, brother. And big fangirl scream for Doug. Love your work since 1991. God bless you. I thank you. I'd like to encourage everyone who is big fans of supporting these guys to go into Matt's Patreon, which is down in the link, and become a member. Support the guy. I don't believe in PBS. I don't like begging for money. I don't believe in that at all. But I do believe in the business that artists need some capital. And you guys, we've never had more capital at our exposure in these prosperous times. You're going to spend your money on entertainment anyways. So give the guy $5 a month and see what kind of great animation. This is a guy who cares. He's a puppeteer. He's an animator. He's a musician. That turns me on. Here's Rory McWilliams for $10. Really happy with his hard work and including time Fred has put into all of this is very inspiring. Yeah, I want all of you to also create like the wind, create hard like your life depends upon it, because it actually does. Human experience without good art being pumped in, truth, goodness, and beauty being pumped in to alleviate the suffering of the masses is a miserable existence. We have to fund the arts. I'm saying don't fund other shitty artists, fund good ones and good people that you believe in. This is a man who overcame tobacco addiction and heroin addiction with his love of animation. I don't know if there's a more important thing I could say right now to show how serious he is.
It was Star Fox. It was Star Fox and animation. It saved me from being bloated in the ditch.
Yeah, this is not a guy who's screwing around with arts. This is not a hobby to him. He's not fucking around. This is real. This is 100% real life. I'm not kidding about you. I'm not being esoteric or philosophical. This is practical. He's sitting in a room and putting his life into creating animation. Is this meaningless? Then don't pay him to do it. Is this meaningful? Then let's buy some groceries. Here's Sil Ye Till for $5. A friend described the feeling was best described in the song Heroin by the Velvet Underground. Yeah, I hear
I know that one on the Nico album with the
I love Velvet Underground too. And I'll bet Reagan does also.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Here's Emperor Tiger Star for $5. Once again, thank you. My only high was listening to Pink Floyd's Comfortably Numb. I love that song, and I hate Pink Floyd, and I love Comfortably Numb. I think it's one of the greatest songs ever written, guys. Listen to it, Comfortably Numb. While on laughing gas at the dentist, highly recommend. Yeah. I just think drugs are overrated because it just gets you to unplug from real life, guys. There is real life to get high as a kite over. Real life, real people, men talking to men, men talking to women, women talking to women. You will get the natural dopamine rush if you talk to people you love and interact with people you love. Get off the video games and go talk to someone you love. Then after you're done, go play video games. But don't exclude the talking to humans you love. Your brain was made for people you love. Family, friends, lovers, spouses. That really is what it's here for. And then if we get to create some art and get a little tick of a high, that's all the heroin I need. Everyone always asks, they see my crazy stuff going, are you on drugs? I have never taken a drug. Okay, I've taken OxyContin when I had my wisdom teeth pulled, and I enjoyed it. That
doesn't count.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that it has to count for something. Here's Liam Anthony for $2. Thank you. Very inspiring talk. High respect for all of you. Guys, we're just guys trying to make it. Look, Reagan's not even asking for your money yet. He doesn't even have his book out. But you guys can go follow him on Twitter. Is free at Reagan Lodge. Go follow him. If you guys want to see killer art from one of the most radical, crazy, Eastern Orthodox, insane citrus farmers I know. Guys, go follow Reagan Lodge at Reagan Lodge at Twitter. Here's Antlers once again for $10. Thank you, Antlers. Fred's cartoon is what got me into art again. So see, you're already spreading your disease. And he's an incredible artistic inspiration. And I want to be great artist and animator. Thank you. Then all you got to do, Antlers, is do what Matt does every day. And that is
Antlers is already a great artist.
Work your ass off. Already. That's good. Yeah, I love my fellow artists too, guys. We're in the same fraternity, the fraternity of artists. We may have totally different backgrounds. I'm a conservative, Republican, evangelical maniac, and I have more in common with most artists than most people, even in my own side. It's like we're in this group. We live and breathe this stuff. We take it seriously. Speaking I've always been an artist.
That you two have in common, I wanted to bring up. So, Doug, you've got Mothman as your kind of phantom masterpiece. Yeah. Matthew had this thing called Drug War Matt, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
What is Drug War? I know nothing.
It's a cartoon with the similar effects and aesthetic of this one, like old gritty early 80s cartoon. There's a little clip of it on the internet. It was the one I was trying to make back in 2006.
And this was before like the whole like 80s retro synthwave thing, even like,
I will say
where can my viewers find it? Where can they find it?
Just go on YouTube and type in Drug War cartoon.
Drug War cartoon. Drug War cartoon on YouTube, guys. Check it out.
Just Frederick Fox's Drug War.
What's your channel where they can subscribe to your? Do you have a YouTube channel or Twitch?
For what I'm doing now, it's just a Fox in Space. If you go to YouTube and type in a Fox in Space, it's the first channel that comes up.
Fox in Space on YouTube, guys. Subscribe, please. We part of our business model is to get subscribers, and more important is to watch the material. So get in on that. Get in on this channel. Spread the links around to all these guys, to your friends, because that's our free marketing that we need really to make this independent model work. We're not asking you to spend more money on entertainment. We're just asking you to kind of funnel it into a couple of independents. Here's Dave and Mac for $10. Thank you so much, Devin, I'm sorry. Really inspiring stories here. Everything about this is further reminding me why the arts matters. Yes, the arts, they actually do matter in spite of what culture is doing to the arts. Matt, talk about the wholesale attack and delegitimization that art does to itself. What is good about art today, and what sucks about art today? What is wrong?
There is a huge influx of mediocrity as far as art goes. And this is from my point of view, there's a lot of like, oh, this looks exactly like the other cartoon that someone made. I don't want to call anybody out or anything,
but Adventure Time is great, and there's 1,000 knockoffs for something made.
I love Adventure Time. Adventure Time, it was like one of the first ones where they went with a style and it worked, and now there's like 20 something other cartoons where it's like, hey, let's give everyone jelly bean heads and those same teeth and make everything random. Here's a spider that's also a cat that when it farts it's glitter and
and by the way, Penn Ward is one of my kids, one of my guys who used to come up to me at Comic-Con. So is Rebecca Sugar, who made Steven Universe. These are my kids. These are my people.
Steven Universe isn't really like the kind of cartoon that I watch, but the animation on it is amazing. The production values of it. It's just like with certain video games. An
insane little girl. That's what I love about it. It was the first to be made by an insane little girl. She learned her ways on Adventure Time working for Penn Ward. They were classmates when I lectured at Cal Arts. They were classmates. Great kids. I may not agree with everything they do. I'm not that kind of fan in that I agree with everything they do, but I am a fan of their business model. They tore it up and they changed culture. That's what we all want to do. Reagan?
Yeah. Oh yes. No, I was just agreeing. No, basically what Fred said, like I totally feel that. And here's the thing, like I completely admire like the animation and especially the backgrounds that go into Steven Universe, but just story-wise, narratively. I just could never get into it. And
Yeah, I'm not into it either. My kids are into it. That's credit enough for them.
yeah,
And I am a fan of Rebecca Sugar. I collected her little comic books that she would bring me at Comic-Con. And I said, this kid, she's amazing. She's more amazing than Steven Universe, by the way. She really is. She is amazing.
I remember when she was like posting stuff to you online and you were like forwarding it to your forums. I remember her like,
no one knew about Rebecca Sugar when I was her fan, and I'm still a fan of her as the person. I don't care about politics. I don't care about anything. I'm a fan of that girl. I just love her. Here's Northy Tunes for $5. Doug, are you into any of the old Ralph Bakshi cartoons? Barely. Ralph Bakshi overplays a weak hand. I think he started it with great principles. The greatest thing he ever did was created John Kricfalusi, is the greatest thing about Ralph Bakshi. On Mighty Mouse, the Mighty Mouse cartoon, Ralph Bakshi's Mighty Mouse.
So nuts. I remember watching that as a kid.
If you guys want to see something crazy, look up Ralph Bakshi's Mighty Mouse. By the way, which is almost all John Kricfalusi and Jeff Pigeon, who works at Pixar. I'm also huge friends and fans of those guys. Ralph Bakshi's Mighty Mouse really is incredible, and you will find it funny, and it really is good. Here's C Ya T for $5. Fred has always been an uplifting and hilarious person. I still chuckle. I want to think of his reaction to Sage's red velvet cakes at Frank's old apartment. Guys, we got to wrap up this show. I think my family is calling me to dinner, and I wouldn't be a good father or husband if I neglected that.
No, you can't miss that.
Yeah, my people. Guys, will you come back on again? This has been a great show. I think
absolutely. Anytime you'll have me.
Yeah, I'd love to have you on. You're a man in full. You're my brother, my friend. Where do you live? Where are you at?
Oh, right now, Calais, Maine. 5 minutes from the Canadian border.
Dude, you're like, you're going to get shut down for the winter. You're going to get killed.
Oh, you might as well be like living in Russia.
Stay inside and stay warm and work on my cartoon. That's my plan.
Is your dad still down here in Franklin?
He's in Clarksville.
Okay, well, next time you're down here,
stay in Franklin. I worked in Clarksville, but it's like 30 minutes from you.
Okay, next time you're down in this area, please stay at my house. I have a guest room.
I will definitely come by and visit if you would have me. Absolutely.
Dude, I would have you for as long as you want to stay. My family will love you. I will love you. We will have a blast. We will have manhood together. My people, I think we have to end this whole show. It wouldn't be a Doug show with Reagan Lodge on if we didn't have a gun show.
Oh gosh! All right, I'm not gonna take the shirt off all the way. But...
No, get that tank cap off. Get the tank top off.
Come on! All right,
that's not enough exposure. Get it off.
I gotta take my headphones off and everything.
Yeah, you gotta get all uncomfortable. Look, you can't even hear what I'm saying right now. We're gonna go out with beef.
All right, I gotta talk now so you can all see me. But so I guess I gotta submit to Doug objectifying me.
Manhood makes me so happy. He even has a hairy chest. That would be awful on any other man.
Absolutely. Oh.
All right. Check out my goal is to be a model for Rob Liefeld. That is my goal.
Correct.
Oh my God. You're going to need more in your pectoral department.
Yeah. And less downstairs, if you know what I mean.
You know what I love doing is I love flexing my pecs.
Do the Captain America side move.
Hello, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the kind of beef you get on the Doug Show. It's all beef. It is low carb. The Doug Show. I'd like to thank my guest, Matt, who is, wow, what an amazing guy. Get into his Patreon.
Thank you, Doug. It's a real honor.
This is great. This is great. Kindred spirits. We're all kindred spirits. And Reagan Lodge, follow him at Reagan Lodge on Twitter. This has been the Doug Show. All together now. Oh!